This proposal seeks approval of three fundamental matters. Ratification of the Star Atlas DAO, which is the decentralized autonomous organization that makes decisions affecting critical aspects of Star Atlas metaverse. Ratification of the Star Atlas Constitution, which describes the permissions, processes, and overall framework of the DAO. And ratification of the operations of Star Atlas Foundation, an independent legal entity protecting certain elements of the Star Atlas DAO. Proposal description and details. The category is the process. Author is the Star Atlas Foundation. Submission date, July 6th, 2023. The abstract. This proposal seeks approval of three fundamental matters. 1. The ratification of the Star Atlas DAO, which is the decentralized autonomous organization that makes decisions affecting critical aspects of the Star Atlas metaverse. 2. Ratification of the Star Atlas Constitution, which describes the permissions, processes, and overall framework of the DAO. And 3. Ratification of the operations of the Star Atlas Foundation, an independent legal entity protecting certain elements of the Star Atlas DAO. Motivation and rationale. This proposal lays the groundwork for Star Atlas to remain driven by its community, which shall express its will through the Star Atlas DAO. This proposal is guided by the below three guiding principles, which also are reflected in the Star Atlas Constitution itself. Quality and safety. Star Atlas should be associated with a high quality and safe experience. Community owned and community built. Star Atlas should be managed in a way that emphasizes true ownership of Star Atlas assets and encourages community builders. Sustainable governance. Star Atlas should be built and operated in a way that optimizes for resilience and long-term sustainability. In light of these goals, governance of the Star Atlas DAO is centered on the most indestructible and censorship-resistant part of its structure, the smart contract at the heart of the ecosystem. On-chain decisions are paramount. The immutability of on-chain decisions ensures that Star Atlas will have a decentralized governance function that can endure changing societal and world conditions. Off-chain activities, such as the individual actions of builders, developers, gamers, and other, are subservient to on-chain decisions. Off-chain decisions, however, may be limited or rendered non-binding by certain restrictions, such as by applicable law or regulation or the need to obtain an off-chain actor's consent. The same is true for on-chain decisions, particularly to the extent they have an impact off of the blockchain. The Star Atlas Constitution is a plain language description of the permissions and processes of the smart contract deployments that comprise the Star Atlas DAO. Ultimately, this proposal is intended to describe a governance framework that is simple and sustainable with a focus on on-chain decisions and actions. This proposal also represents a significant step forward on the path to the progressive decentralization of the Star Atlas metaverse. Ratification of the Star Atlas DAO. The Star Atlas DAO is the set of smart contracts deployed on Solana mainnet at the following addresses. Shown are the Polis Locker Snapshots, DAO Proxy Rewarder, DAO Treasury, DAO Emissions, DAO Sale Account, and Atlas Locker. Ratification of the Star Atlas Constitution. The Star Atlas Constitution Preamble. The Star Atlas Metaverse is the immersive gaming, economic, and social ecosystem that is built by the decentralized community and defined by the constantly evolving story of three factions: Manus Ultima Divinia, Mud, the Oni Consortium, and the Ooster, set in the galaxy of Gallia. Critical aspects of the Star Atlas metaverse are governed by the Star Atlas DAO, which is a set of smart contracts deployed to the Solana blockchain. This constitution describes the permissions, processes, and overall governance framework of the Star Atlas DAO, which has at its core three guiding principles. Quality and safety. Star Atlas should be associated with a high quality and safe experience. Community owned and community built. Star Atlas should be managed in a way that emphasizes true ownership of Star Atlas assets and encourages community builders. Sustainable governance. Star Atlas should be built and operated in a way that emphasizes for resilience and long-term sustainability. Definitions. Star Atlas DAO, or the DAO, is the set of smart contracts deployed on Solana mainnet at the following addresses. Shown are the Polis Locker Snapshot, DAO Proxy Rewarder, DAO Treasury, DAO Emissions, DAO Sale Account, and Atlas Locker. The Star Atlas Treasury, all tokens received by the DAO as a result of the economic activities in the Star Atlas metaverse and held in a smart contract governed directly by the DAO. The Star Atlas Council, Star Atlas community members who have been chosen by the DAO to provide feedback and draft PIPs. If there are no active council members, the Star Atlas Foundation shall effectuate council responsibilities. Details regarding the Atlas, the currency token of the Star Atlas metaverse with the Solana address shown below. Polis, the governance token of the Star Atlas metaverse with the Solana address shown below. Polis Locker Voter Account, the program account created when a Solana address locks Polis in the governance smart contract of the DAO. Polis Locker Voter Account, the program account created when a Solana address locks Polis in the governance smart contract of the DAO. Citizen, a Solana address in control of a Polis Locker Voter Account. Polis Voting Power, or PVP, the voting weight accorded to a Solana address in control of Polis locked voter account. Voter, a Solana address with more than 0 PVP. Polis Improvement Proposal, or PIP, the method by which the DAO takes action. Draft PIP, a draft proposal that has not yet been designated as a PIP. Governor, a Solana address with sufficient PVP to have permission to advance a PIP to on-chain voting. Foundation Wallet, the Solana address with the permission to execute a successful PIP. Emergency Override Wallet, the Solana address with the permission to propose and execute a PIP. Article 1. On-Chain Supremacy. The Star Atlas DAO exercises supreme authority over on-chain actions that affect the Star Atlas metaverse. On-chain actions are effectuated directly by the governance smart contract of the DAO via transactions confirmed on the Solana blockchain. All other actions that may affect the Star Atlas metaverse are off-chain actions. On-chain actions may be limited or rendered non-binding by applicable laws and regulations or other restrictions. The following rules describe critical inputs, permissions, and transactions related to the governance smart contract of the DAO. 1. A Solana address with Polis has permission to lock Polis for a set period of time in the governance smart contract of the DAO. Locked tokens are non-transferable. The Solana address in control of the locked Polis receives PVP, which decays during the lock period, and may be able to claim Polis as a reward for participation in governance. The duration of the lock is determined at the time the tokens are locked. 2. A Solana address with Atlas has permission to lock Atlas in the governance smart contract of the DAO. Locked tokens are non-transferable. The Solana address in control of the locked Atlas receives discounts on transaction fees on the Galactic Marketplace and may be able to claim Polis as a reward for participating in governance. An instruction to initiate and unlock Atlas is permitted at any time, and Atlas tokens may be withdrawn 3 weeks after the instruction. 3. A citizen has permission to initiate a draft PIP to the DAO pursuant to the process described in Article 3. 4. A Solana address with the requisite amount of PVP has permission to activate a PIP for on-chain voting. 5. A Solana address with PVP has a permission to vote on an active PIP. 6. The Foundation wallet has permission to execute a PIP that has received sufficient votes to pass the quorum and threshold PVP minimums. The Emergency Override wallet has permission to propose and execute a PIP without following the process described in Article 3. Article 2. Off-chain actions. The Star Atlas DAO exercises influence over off-chain actions that affect the Star Atlas metaverse via the proposal process set forth in Article 3. The consent of off-chain actors affected by the DAO's proposal is required. The DAO's ability to implement off-chain actions may be limited or rendered non-binding by applicable laws and regulations, the non-consent of affected off-chain actors, or other restrictions. The DAO does not have unenumerated powers over off-chain actions. The DAO is not vested with any legal entitlements, including intellectual property rights in the governance smart contract comprising the DAO, or in other aspects of the Star Atlas metaverse. Legal entitlements, including intellectual property rights, may be vested in an entity designated by the DAO via the PIP process. Article 3. Proposal and voting. This article describes the permissions and processes by which the PIP may be drafted, proposed, and voted on. PIPs may modify any aspect of the Star Atlas metaverse over which the DAO exercises authority. PIPs may not violate any applicable law or regulation. The process in this article may be bypassed by the emergency override wallet. Phase 0. Public interest. A citizen has permission to propose an idea for a potential PIP. The citizen must propose a brief description of the idea on the official Star Atlas DAO forum located at https://government.staratlas.com. Other citizens may indicate interest in the idea on the official forum. An idea that gathers sufficient public interest may advance to the next phase. Phase 1. Ideation. Ideas that have gathered sufficient public interest shall be discussed in greater detail on the official forum. Discussion generally should take place for at least 2 weeks. Expedited considerations may be appropriated depending on the circumstances. An idea with sufficient community support, as identified by the Council, shall be assigned to a Council member to assist with the drafting process. Phase 2. Drafting. Once an idea has received sufficient community support, the authority shall prepare a draft PIP with input from the community and assistance from the assigned Council member. A draft PIP must be identified by a relevant category. Process. Modifies this constitution or the governance framework of the Star Atlas DAO. Core game. Affects any in-game or in-metaverse functionality, including taxation rates, faction relations, and high-level game design decisions. Funding. Requests funds, grants funds, or otherwise proposes how to spend or allocate funds from the Star Atlas treasury. External relations. Request approval of a gaming, business, or social relationship between the DAO and an external third party, including a potential brand partner. Informational. Provides guidelines or information relevant to the Star Atlas metaverse, but does not otherwise propose a new feature or update. Other. For proposals that do not belong in the above categories. The draft PIP must contain the following sections. Header. Information on the author and the nature of the proposal. Abstract. Succinct summary of the proposal. Motivation and rationale. Description of the purpose and context of the proposal. Potential conflicts of interest and the steps taken to mitigate them should be disclosed. Rejection of an earlier version of the proposal and the steps taken to improve the proposal should be disclosed. Specification. Description of the substance of the proposal with sufficient detail for the DAO to make an informed decision about the nature of the proposal and to facilitate its implementation. Implementation details. Summary of the steps necessary to implement the proposal, including on-chain instructions necessary to enact the proposed change. Information on necessary off-chain actors and their consent to the proposal must be provided. Timeline. Estimate implementation timeline. Overall cost. Cost to the DAO, whether monetary or non-monetary, such as effort or other resources, shall be established and disclosed. Additional sections may be added as appropriate. Phase 3. Review. The draft PIP is submitted for review by the full Council. The Council has permission to provide feedback on any issues it perceives with the proposal, including with regards to the potential conflicts of interest, potential conflicts with community interests, or other risks to the ecosystem. Members of the community may continue to discuss and provide feedback on the draft PIP. The draft PIP is revised based on feedback from the Council and the community. The Council has permissions to determine that a draft PIP is incapable of advancement to provisional approval. Phase 4. Council approval. When a draft PIP is ready for submission to the full electorate, it is designated as a live PIP and given an identifying number. The Council, the Foundation, or other members of the community may provide formal feedback on the PIP to improve the voting process. The feedback may concern feasibility, costs, legal or tax considerations, potential conflicts of interest, and any other risks or implications of the PIP. Phase 5. Activation. A PIP is advanced to on-chain voting via activation by a governor with a requisite amount of PVP. PIPs undergo an activation delay of 48 hours, which is minimum participation, and threshold, minimum successful vote, PVP minimums are met by votes for the PIP. Voting lasts for 2 weeks. Quorum and threshold minimums are set by the DAO. Successful PIPs undergo a 48-hour execution delay. Phase 7. Execution. After the 48-hour execution delay, the Foundation wallet shall execute the PIP. Implementation must be carried out as specified in the PIP. The DAO may delegate to the controller of the Foundation wallet the discretion not to execute on otherwise successful PIPs if the delegate determines that the PIP is not capable of safe or proper implementation. Article 4. Amending the government framework. The governance smart contracts of the Star Atlas DAO and this constitution describing the governance framework of the DAO may be amended by the proposal process set forth in Article 3. Ratification of the operations of the Star Atlas Foundation. The Star Atlas Foundation is an independent foundation, company limited, by guarantee and without share capital, registered as number 393854 in the Cayman Islands. The Foundation's Memorandum of Association specifies that the Foundation was established with these objectives. A. To perform services to implement, improve, and sustain aspects of the Star Atlas metaverse and ecosystem. Specifically, without limitation, the Foundation is empowered to support and finance appropriate research and development activities and projects. Promote and educate the public on the Star Atlas metaverse and ecosystem. Promote the usage, growth, and contribution to the Star Atlas metaverse and ecosystem. Issue, receive, spend, and hold digital assets. Engage with various businesses, partners, banks, regulators, authorities, and other third parties. B. To do all such things as in the opinion of the directors are or may be incidental or conducive to the above objects, or any of them. The Foundation shall not amend its Memorandum of Association without providing notice to the DAO via an informational PIP. This proposal ratifies the delegation of the following powers to the Star Atlas Foundation. Control of the Foundation wallet and the permission to exercise discretion not to execute on an otherwise successful PIP if the Foundation determines in its sole discretion that the PIP is not capable of safe or proper implementation. For example, reasons to exercise such discretion include but not limited to a PIP that poses a substantial economic risk to the ecosystem, is missing or contains inaccurate information, would violate applicable laws or regulation, is reasonably suspected of containing fraudulent or misleading information, or other reasons. If the Foundation exercises such discretion, it must provide a clear explanation for its decision to the DAO. Control of multisig wallets that control funds of the Star Atlas Treasury. Funds in such wallets shall be used or allocated only at the express direction of the DAO via the PIP process. Authority to carry out steps necessary for the DAO's governance process, including creating and maintaining forums for the governance discussions, maintaining, updating, improving, and adding to the government's smart contracts that comprise the Star Atlas DAO. Any changes to such governance smart contracts must be approved via the PIP process, assisting with, in place of the Council when the Council does not have an active membership, and before the first Council membership is elected. Retaining the services of professional advisors with significant experience in DAO issues. Control of the emergency override wallet and the permission to exercise discretion to propose and execute any PIP if the Foundation determines in its sole discretion that 1. The PIP is necessary to implement, improve, or sustain a critical aspect of the Star Atlas metaverse, and 2. The PIP cannot be passed through the typical process for PIPs described in Article 3 of the Constitution. The Foundation has the permission to delegate, assign, or subcontract out its tasks to third parties, including Automata Inc. Implementation details. This proposal seeks to ratify the following steps, which have already been taken by the Star Atlas Foundation and Automata Inc. on its behalf. Registration of the Star Atlas Foundation. Creation, audit, and deployment of government smart contracts comprising the DAO. Publication of documents describing the sustainable governance framework of the DAO. Creation of the official Star Atlas Discourse Forum for governance discussion. Submitting this proposal to ratify the DAO, the Constitution, and the operations of the Foundation. Future steps in this proposal, including maintenance activities, will be carried out by the Star Atlas Foundation, which may assign or delegate its activities as appropriate. As an initial and non-recurring contribution to the Star Atlas DAO, Automata Inc. has been and is covering the services and costs associated with the implementation of this proposal, including formation and initial funding of the Foundation, payments for legal and tax advisory fees relating to the same, creation, audit, and deployment of the DAO's voting mechanisms, and other related costs. To date, these costs are estimated to be approximately $1 million, which amounts Automata Inc. has fully waived as against the DAO. In the future, costs shall be paid or reimbursed to service providers, including Automata Inc., by the DAO out of the Star Atlas treasury, to be dispersed via on-chain governance. Reoccurring costs include, but are not limited to, Foundation director fees. Each of the Foundation's 3 directors shall receive $25,000 per year, or $2,083.33 per month, for professional services rendered on behalf of the Star Atlas Foundation. Have waived their fees to date. Registered Office, Secretary, and Supervisory Services. Walker Fiduciary Limited provides essential administrative services for the Foundation at a cost of approximately $40,000 per year. Other costs to provide other operational support for the Foundation and the DAO, including discourse and DAO website hosting costs and related development work. Further details on recurring costs borne by the DAO and requests by the Foundation to seek funding for such costs shall be detailed in a future PIP.